previous generations went to church on conviction. The new millennials and my generation, that's not really the case. So how do we reach the generations and maybe talk a little bit about the change and what they're looking for?
You know, when my father was, I was telling about the first church he did that I remember, the congregation built the church. I mean, my father was a builder, but they all came together and built the church. And there was a huge commitment on their part. They put the money in, they probably paid for it.
Yeah.
And then you've seen my generations come along and kind of we're on the tail end of that. Things have changed. But the real change has come in the last 10 or 15 years. Church has changed dramatically. And so I think what we're seeing is we're needing to do more to show them that we do care about them. Mm-hmm. You know, I read recently that even like pro football games and stuff, they're having to do more to get people in the stadium because TV is so much more relevant. You can watch it better on TV. Mm-hmm. So churches are having to do the same thing, make the same changes. One of the things that we're seeing is in the lobbies. You need a really nice gathering space, plenty of room for people to meet, gather, feel comfortable. We talked about the coffee shops. All of that is a big part of what's going on in the church. And if we're forgetting the children and not bringing them up to speed, then we're missing that next generation.
Yeah,
and that is a real key. The church is going to start
to die because they are the future of the church.
Yes.
And so if all we reach is the adults, then there's nobody going to be there in another 15 years.
Absolutely.
And how do we get the families there? I feel like there's been a shift in the mindset of it's not, people don't go to church on conviction as much as they look at it like, okay, what can the church do for me?
Yes.
And so what can it do for my family? What can it do for my kids? What does it offer me?
Yep.
And there's so many options too. I mean, you drive around town, maybe not as much in a small town, but even in small towns, there may be, you know, several churches within a mile of each other.
That's exactly right.
And so people get into that mindset of, you know, they want to know, what can your church offer me? Not, I'm going here because my parents went here.
That's right. Exactly.
So what we try to do, you know, and you could talk a little bit more on this, is we try to help the church identify those things in the design process and work with them to implement them in their building or their remodel or whatever they're doing. How can we help them to get more families and more people in the doors?
Absolutely. And I think today, you know, you showing that you care about what you're doing and what you're putting in it. The churches, the children, they're gathering spaces for families. And if you're doing that, you're meeting the needs of the people. The people are coming.
Yeah, they will come because we do see
churches are growing.
Church is not going away.
Absolutely.
It's just been a shift in the mindset and honestly, even the style of church that's growing. You know, people are so time conscious and so busy that community, you know, seems to be more important to people and a place where their family can go and they feel considered. It seems like those are all important things.
One thing that I know is that churches are growing. And, you know, we can think that they're not, but the churches we're doing and the churches we build on, almost always, I don't want to exaggerate and say everyone, but almost everyone has experienced growth after they did work through their church, no question.
Yeah, and you know, we work with one organization that they plant over 200, I believe, churches a year. So that tells you, you know, if we're planting that many churches, then people are going to church.
Yes.
They haven't stopped going to church. And a lot of people, I feel like, are even coming back to church.
Coming back to church, they sure are.
Which is great. So again, that's our vision, that's our heart, and that's why we do this, is to help provide places of worship and to help pastors to do that and to meet their ministry goals and needs.
Exactly.